right, live from Studio 6B on a Tuesday night, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. Real America's Voice. Glad you're in. Lots to do on a busy Tuesday night. Slick Rick's here. He's going to do some sports. Slicks, they're looking good in the red. How are you?
I'm doing good tonight, Big D. How are you?
Very good. Glasses match the red. I'm sure the shoes match the red as well. Is this a calendar outfit?
This was a calendar outfit.
Okay, very good.
Pretty much.
Yeah, the calendar was 1984.
Very good.
Listen to this guy with the haircut, with the weed torch haircut over here.
It's a good one. It's a good one, Delgado. Rick Delgado's going to do some news. Delgado, how are you?
I am well.
What are you wearing?
Day, again.
I fit the Decepticon.
The same thing he wears every night. What are you talking about? What is he wearing?
I think once every 10 days, I'll rip out the I Fight Decepticons T-shirt.
Okay, very good. All right. What's coming up in the news today? Anything strike you? I know Biden's out there. Now, Biden's out there. Well, first of all, David Zier's here. He's going to do some news as well. Mr. Zier, how are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for asking. Busy day today, trying to put together Scott Lebedo red carpet premiere next week coverage. And I have more interviews from families of Israeli hostages taken by Hamas and some other stuff. So,
Aaron and Fran holding it down on what's going to be a busy Tuesday night. Will Scharf's going to join us at 8:30. Couldn't be more excited to talk to him. Got many questions about where we are with President Trump and after this conviction, and many things to talk to Will Scharf about. He's brilliant. And obviously I brought you a lot of his early, at least for me it was when the first time I was kind of learned about him was when he was writing some things I saw in the Federalist about Hunter Biden's plea deal. I can remember back then in 23 he was writing about that, and I was thinking, man, this guy is, whoever this is sharp as hell. And he obviously early on in all of these President Trump, the documents case, I mean, made as much sense as anybody I was reading. So I'm excited to have him on the show, talk to him about where we are and where we go from here, most importantly. So that's at 8:30. We'll do some sports and news. In the meantime, to prep for that, because we're going to take the whole segment with Mr. Scharf. He's been nice enough to join us tonight. So lots going on. So Biden... the days like this that I just remember, you remember how much you detest the media, because the media, of course, well, number one is detestable, but number two will just runs cover and just take things. What you're hearing today on the border, first of all, it's just, we've heard from Joe Biden now for 2 years that he's done everything he can do.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing else he can do. There's no power he has. Nothing else he can do. All they could do is rescind what President Trump did. Remember, Mayorkas in that early on ABC interview said, we've rescinded so many things from the Trump administration, and we don't have enough time for me to tell you. Well, yes, the border reflects that, too, as 15 million people have probably come into the country. So now, all of a sudden, Biden understands that the debates are getting close, and I guess that maybe the polling is getting, so bad that someone finally in there said, well, we need to put some whipped cream on this pile of you-know-what, even though it's still a pile of you-know-what. And that's what they're trying to do today with his talk on immigration. New border executive orders that, of course, he told us he didn't have the power to do. Putting back in place almost the exact same thing that President Trump was using with a couple different wrinkles. But as Bill Malugin over at Fox, and he knows the border as well as our own Ben Bergquam does, that this is just that, whipped cream on a you-know-what. A big pile of, because it's not changing the dynamics at the border whatsoever. It's not stopping the flights that Biden's flying people all over the country. It's not doing anything to that. It's not doing anything but addressing asylum seekers. It's not dealing with anything else at the border. It's not stopping the flow of humanity that the Border Patrol encounters every day. It's not stopping the flow of drugs across the border every day. It's not stopping any of that. But the media today would make you believe that this has been Joe Biden's priority since he stepped into office to make sure the border was secure. They would make you believe the border is secure. And they would make you believe that what he's doing today really is just because these damn Republicans just can't get along to, go along to get along. They can't get anything done. They can't do anything. And sometimes you just have to get out in front of those bad Republican people and do it yourself.
Yeah, because, what they really need, and you heard this a lot when they were trying to pass that bill, we just need the money. Just give us the money, and we can do God's work with this money. No. I'm thankful they said no to this garbage bill that they tried to pass. And we knew what the deal was. The laws are already on the books. They just don't want to enforce them. There's probably a stack of laws. If you wrote them all out, because they love to, it's probably this thick of laws that have been written and passed for the border. All you got to do is enforce some of them. You would do a tremendous work on the border, as we saw with President Trump when he was in office. Basically, got the job done. I saw a poll today they did back in 2020 regarding the border. They actually had Joe Biden 1 point ahead of Donald Trump on border security. Today, they took it, and the guy on CNN was like, goodness gracious me, a 27-point difference. Donald Trump is out in front by 27 points on this same issue, same question.
Yeah. So today, over at The Blaze, over at Right Scoop, they have an article on this today about Joe Biden issuing new executive orders for the southern border that are designed to, quote-unquote, shut down the border when encounters exceed an average of 2,500 for 7 days. So what we're doing here is we're just normalizing illegal immigration to the tune of 1 million or 2 on the most basic level, 1 million or 2 a year. We're just saying now, all of a sudden, the new standard is that's fine. If it gets to 6-7 million, well, that's fine. We're just going to normalize it because today is such a day of gravity of what Joe Biden is doing. This is what you're hearing from the media today. So the Biden administration issues a set of new executive actions that would temporarily suspend entry for non-citizens if the southern border sees a certain number of illegal crossers in a 7-day period. These actions will be in effect when the southern border is overwhelmed, and they will make it easier for immigration officers to quickly remove individuals who do not have a legal basis to remain in the U.S., the White House said today in a press release. If the average number of border encounters exceeds 2,500 in a 7-day period, entry to non-citizens would be suspended until 14 days after a 7-day average of 1,500. So again, it just doesn't, we're just going to we're just going to play around with the numbers a little bit. But if we get couple million people every year, that's fine. According to Fox News, in the 24 hours before the White House declaration, the border saw 5,200 encounters and has averaged 5,000 per day for weeks. Per the U.S. Customs and Border Protection data, the 30-day average from April was almost 6,000 encounters per day. Under Biden's new rules, if the border saw 2,499 daily encounters without any suspensions, that would total over 912,000 encounters in a year. So we're normalizing 1 million illegal aliens right now, and this is supposed to be the new good. This is the step up. This is really border security now, right? Allowing 1 million a year. That number, while significantly lower than any figure achieved by the Biden administration, would still be higher than any year under President Trump. The Biden order, now listen up, does not apply to visa holders, unaccompanied children, those with medical emergencies or imminent threat to their life, or victims of a severe form of trafficking. It also does not apply to those who use CBP One app, which is used by about 1,500 people per day. Oh, he's doing such a great thing. He's locking it down. Bill Melugin explained why these executive orders will do nothing to shut down the border. Bill Melugin says, in no way can Biden's executive order be described as shutting down the border. It bans asylum to some illegal crossers with some exceptions. It does not stop or slow the flow of up to 1,500 migrants per day released into the U.S. via the CBP One app at ports of entry, and does not or slow up to 30,000 migrants a month that Biden is flying directly into the U.S. and being released into the country via his controversial mass parole program for Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans. Unaccompanied children, minors, are exempt from the order, which will lead to concerns about child trafficking. And migrants can still claim fear in an attempt to avoid deportation. Also, asylum has already been banned for most migrants who cross illegally since the end of Title 42 last year. And that hasn't stopped them from coming. Highest numbers in recorded history in the end of 2023. The order may speed up removals to countries where we can deport easily to, Mexico, Northern Triangle countries, but there has been no explanation as to how the administration will be able to begin mass removals of migrants coming from another hemisphere with governments that do not want to cooperate with the U.S. at all. Between the 2,500 allowed per day, the 1,500 released through the CBB1 app, and the 30,000 flying into the country on Biden Airlines, we're still taking close to 2 million illegals allowed in the country every year. Biden just wants something he can tout in the campaign trail, and that's exactly right.
Yeah.
So 2 million is now the floor that we're now just going to marginalize and basically normalize and say, that's what we have to all accept.
Right. They want that to be the new normal. They want that to be, once they do that, then they figure, well, then we can look for 3 million because now we established 2 million as, well, this is the absolute, this is doing great work right here. They create the new normal. Meanwhile, the normal was what, like between 500,000 and 1 million of legal, right?
Legal,
Something
yeah,
like
legal.
Right. Legal.
Maybe 1 million.
Right. Tops. But now, well, look at the clever window dressing they put on this pile of garbage. They're saying they're capping it at 2 million. But you know it's going to be way more than that. It always ends up being worse because it's the government. They only do things badly. So when it comes to stuff like this, it's just they're trying to get you used to. It's like when you're a kid, right? And maybe you get picked on in school. You get picked on every day. You get picked on every day. After a while, you get used to it. But then at one point, they go a little too far, and then you snap and you smash the other kid in the face. Then you get in trouble. But whatever. I don't know where I was going with this, but I was trying to...
Probably to the break.
Right to the break. But basically about establishing this new... to get you used to a certain type of thing so you don't question it anymore. It becomes, I always had this itch here. It doesn't matter. I don't need cream for it. It's fine. That kind of thing.
And don't forget the amnesty.
Right. Oh, and don't forget that. Oh, don't forget the fact that we're still putting them up in hotels and we're feeding them. We're giving them cell phones. We're giving them food. We're moving them into abandoned buildings and invading different communities around the country. Don't worry about that part.
All right, 13 past the hour. Will Scharf was going to join us at 8:30, but we're going to do sports and news before that coming up. Live from Studio 6B, just getting started on a Tuesday night.
What's up, everybody in the chat? Facebook chat. Good evening.
I'm saying it right now.
Who's the Peter Marcano?
Tommy Viper. Damon, did you order a DoorDash straight from Woody's today? No.
If you're on social media watching us, make sure you hit the subscribe and like. You can comment, share. Any of that would help. Just really hitting the thumbs up is the biggest help you can give us.
Oh, I should do that? All right, I'll do that.
Let's see what's going on in the chat tonight. Lisa, hey guys, what's going on, Lisa, on Facebook? Good evening, Kathy. Bucky's fan just hit the like button. Thank you.
Julie.
Hey, Julie.
Julie is Bucky's fan. I love Bucky's, by the way, Julie.
Buzzard
jerky.
Hit the like button.
Hey,
$33 a pound, but it's great jerky.
Clarity, how are you?
Hey, Julie.
Hey.
Kathy, hello. Jeff, hello. Amy, hello. Dana, hello.
Doc.
Bada bing.
Charles
bada
Parker,
boom.
hello.
Charles Barkley? What?
Charles Barkley. No.
Janet, how are you?
Oh,
What's up, Jeff and YouTube Live? Brent Mosey, Drag Blacker, AZ Mikey, Amy Ames. Says hi to Damon.
nobody else.
Damon, you need a black cowboy hat and a cigar. Well, I have both of those at home.
That's what he says.
And then we got Chinchilla, Robert Chinchilla. He's a riot. He said, Damon, you need a black cowboy hat and a cigar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
come
something
on,
brand
Big
new. I
D.
didn't hear
I'm having
that
like
one.
Play the
deja vu
part.
here.
Wow.
God almighty. Such opportunity we just pass on all the time. All right?
Whatever.
Guy can come in a cowboy hat every night. They would love it.
And a cigar.
That'd be bigger than my shoes.
Anything's bigger than your shoes.
Yeah, well, that's true. Only a size 8. So what is?
We got Ruby. Ruby gave a shout out to all of us. Love the show.
Ruby. I look like a ruby tonight.
James Reed.
Jack.
Moon Pie. He's back. Moon Pie's
Moon
back.
Pie's back? Where's Buzzard tonight, David? Is he buzzing around?
There he is. Hi, Buzzard.
Hey, Buzzard.
Good evening.
You old Buzzard. Come on.
Hey, Aaron and Fran too from Jeff on YouTube. Don't want to forget you guys. That was nice, Aaron. Hey,
Howdy.
Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff. Do me a favor.
the
Lock it
party,
and close the
pal.
door, will you?
D, did you see this? I went by too fast. Probably not.
Ah, Big D.
Hi, live from Studio 6B, 17 past the hour on a Tuesday night. Let's do some sports. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell and MyPillow. Use our code LFS6B. When you check out at MyPillow, great savings on great stuff from Lindell. Slick Rick, what's going on?
Well, Big D, we haven't gone to the rodeo in a little bit, so let's go to the rodeo. Rodeo season heating up now. Come on, Big
Where's
D.
my black cowboy hat and a big cigar?
Well, that's the thing. You're missing the boat. I said that during the intermission there. Come on. We got the, ready for this one? Home of the Navajo PRCA Rodeo. This will be the Dean C. Jackson Memorial in Window Rock, Arizona. Well, that's probably a real nice place over there. We had all-around cowboy this weekend. Trevor Hale picked up $15.82 for tie-down roping, team roping, and steer roping. Bareback riding, Keenan Hayes, 87 points on the Survey Brothers. Moon dancing, 37-32. These are all the winners, obviously. Steer wrestling, Kyle Calloway, 4.5 seconds. Team roping, Hagen Peterson and Chase Tryon, 4.5 seconds. Saddle Bronx, Statler Wright, 90 points on the Survey Brothers. R. Watson's Ed Bishop, 3,800. Tie down. We have a tie, Cash Hooper and Zach Youngblood, 7.7 seconds. Bow racing, Halen lied, 15.68 tenths. Good time, and that time ain't lying. Steer roping in the third round. The winner was Slade Wood, 9.7 seconds, 11.09. And, of course, the granddaddy of them all, the bull riding, Brady Turgeon, 85.5 points on Empire Rodeos. Ready for this, Rick? Hammer Lane. Must be the block where Pelosi lives. Does she live on Hammer Lane? She just might. We don't know. Well, let's see. Novak Djokovic had to pull out today for an injury in the French Open, so unfortunately he is no longer in the Open. So that kind of puts a little bit of a damper on it, Big D. But Djokovic did hurt his shoulder, and we will follow that. But that's the earliest news on that. So again, we'll see what happens. And Major League Baseball bans. I think I had this right. Tucupita Marcano for life for betting on baseball. Four others get 1 year suspensions. AP report out of New York. San Diego Padres infielder Tucupita Marcano was banned from baseball for life for betting on the sport, and 4 others were suspended for 1 year by Major League Baseball on Tuesday in the game's biggest gambling scandal in decades. MLB said Marcano played 387 baseball bets, totaling more than $150,000 in October of 2022, and from last July through November with a legal sportsbook. He became the first active player in a century banned for life because of gambling. Oakland Athletics pitcher Michael Kelly was suspended for 1 year for betting on baseball while in the minor leagues, and 3 minor leaguers also were banned. Now, this guy, Michael Kelly, his team's moving to Vegas, the Oakland A's, right, in a couple of years, so that really could be a conflict. But, yeah, Major League Baseball, first time in a long time we've had any kind of gambling scandal. I wonder if Shohei Ohtani, if anything more is going to come out of that, or are they just pinning it all on his translator? What do you think
Well,
about
the guy, I mean, yeah, that's pretty
pretty
much
isolated,
done.
right?
Yeah.
And Shohei didn't have anything to do with it?
Yeah, no.
He wasn't running any bets for him or anything?
Now, what's interesting about this story, and I'll spend a lot of time on it because I saw this story. Did you see his record? I mean, if you're making millions of dollars playing baseball and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to bet and take my whole career and put it at risk, you better be hitting like 90% of your bets, and you better be betting big money.
Big money, not 15. Yeah.
This guy was like 15 and 120. He was hitting like 8%.
Yeah, he should have given
Like, he
up.
needed to call me if he was going to do this. At least I could have made him money.
He should have, he wasted his time. Absolutely. No question.
He's got a worse.
Yeah.
I mean, jeez.
Now, speaking of reputations, Big D, UFC cancels Conor McGregor's press conference after rumors swirl following club video. A little trouble in the club there. Paul Boy of Breitbart. The UFC canceled the UFC 303 press conference 12 hours ahead of its commencement after rumors swirled around star athlete Conor McGregor's recent online behavior. The event, set to take place in Dublin, Ireland, was called off with no rescheduled date announced in a post that sent social media ablaze, according to New York Post. While entry to the press conference did not require payment, it was a ticketed event with all allocated tickets snapped up within minutes of their public release, it added. Fans anticipated the press conference amid the looming rematch between Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler. The dear UFC fans, the UFC 303 press conference scheduled for Monday, June 3rd in Dublin, Ireland at the 3 Arena has been postponed until further notice, the UFC posted on X. We sincerely apologize to all fans who are planning to attend. When we have further information, yada, yada, yada. UFC President Dana White did not expound on the situation when speaking with reporters in Newark following Saturday's UFC 302 that former President Trump attended. The UFC 303 will debut on June 29th at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Though the UFC offered no specifics, fans on social media were quick to speculate that perhaps the organization canceled the press conference after McGregor had been seen partying in Dublin. The statement is unlike anything I've ever seen from the UFC before. I speculated significant changes happening to the card, specifically that McGregor versus Chandler fight is the only fight that would warrant this type of reaction, said writer Nick Lombardi. Christ, what did McGregor do now? Just hours before, a lot of Irish fans are going to wake up pretty angry and thought they were going to like this, one user wrote. Conor back at it again. So a lot, I don't know. I just saw some pictures of him online with some young ladies, but that's about it. I don't know what's going on with Conor McGregor, right? We kind of liked him. We thought he was getting ready to be the president of Ireland or something along those lines, no?
Well, he may be, because maybe he doesn't want to fight anymore. I mean, when you've got, $1 billion in the bank, it's hard to motivate yourself to fight. Plus, coming off a big injury, having not fought in a couple of years, I don't hold a lot of hope that this fight's going to happen, but yeah, I guess we'll see.
He's got more to lose than gain, I think. All
right, Slick. Very good. We'll do some more sports. Let's try to get some news in here before Will Scharf joins us at the bottom of the hour. Rick Delgado's got that. What's going on?
All right. Well, President Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, remember him?
Oh, sure.
The coked up, crackhead first son? Well, he's on trial in Delaware on 3 felony charges related to his efforts to obtain he bought the handgun. He lied on the federal form to do it. The younger Biden, who pleaded not guilty last October after being indicted by special counsel David Weiss, has denied the charges. The son of the sitting president, has never before faced a criminal trial until now. The trial comes on the heel, of course, of President Trump's conviction last week. Witnesses acknowledged during the first day of testimony Hunter Biden's drug use was supposedly not continuous, even though he says it was. One of the things that was learned also from the first day is a little bit about the jurors on this trial. I don't know if you heard about these jurors, but there's an ex-Secret Service member in the jury. Ooh. Which is raising questions about the selection.
In other words, Hunter Biden will have a jury of his peers, unlike what President Trump had.
Right. He's got, I think, 6 people that have been affected by drug use and addiction, and then you've got a former Secret Service employee who I guess her husband is still a member of the Secret Service. Republicans and figures in the Make America Great Again movement suggested that Hunter Biden's federal gun trial was rigged after a juror confirmed to be a former Secret Service employee. And we know from past reporting that the Secret Service was heavily involved in protecting the Bidens and Hunter Biden specifically. President Joe Biden's son has pleaded not guilty to charges of making false statements on the federal form, blah, blah, blah. The trial is expected to give the president's political rivals ammunition. Let's see. Let me scroll down here. After the jury in the Hunter Biden trial was confirmed, social media users questioned the inclusion of the 5th juror who was qualified with no objections, having previously worked with the Secret Service along with her husband. Apparently one of the potential jurors, according to this user on X, in the Hunter Biden trial works for the Secret Service. What are the statistical odds of that happening organically? Hint, probably 0, according to this article. And then one final fiery thing happened outside the courtroom. Tense moment outside where Hunter Biden is on trial. His wife, Melissa, confronted former Trump White House aide Garrett Ziegler, who was also in the courtroom. Ziegler, who worked on trade policy, also founded the company called Marco Polo and was working with and broke the state. And sorry, I jumped around. The company Marco Polo was responsible for creating a searchable online database with Hunter Biden's 128,000 emails. Ziegler had been in attendance both days. Of course, the Hunter Biden's wife lost her S, pointed her finger at him in a loud voice, said, "You have no right to be here, you Nazi piece of S." She then walked away, stormed back into the courtroom, and sat down next to the First Lady, Jill Biden.
All right, more news with Delgado and sports a little later. David Zier as well. But Will Scharf's going to join us next. President Trump's attorney, former federal prosecutor, and, of course, candidate for Missouri Attorney General. He joins us next right here live from Studio 6B. All right, what's going on in the chat?
Chat's fired up tonight.
Oh, yeah?
They want to see a Delgado Damon Cades match. Blackbeard's Flag 2024 Damon Delgado Cades match.
Why?
I don't know. They just feel that maybe there could be something there. Big cage match with you guys.
Instead of when McGregor pulls out?
Yeah, it could be a good substitute, you two, in the cage.
I'm not even going to have a party anymore, so me and Delgado can't do anything. We can't even...
You weren't going to have a party anyway, so what's the difference?
What do you mean? We were. Yes, we were.
No, we weren't.
Can't even hang out in the hot tub.
We're not allowed over there.
Well, you're definitely not allowed over now.
We're not allowed at Fireside, whoever. We can't go anywhere. Come on, where's the jacuzzi?
The jacuzzi just got drained, so I can clean it. Slick needs a red cowboy hat.
Oh, I'll take one.
John
Come
says.
on.
Come on, Rick.
Did they make red cowboy hats? I never seen.
Carolyn says, "Love you guys. You're the best news sports anywhere. Thank you."
Oh, that's nice.
We do news and sports?
See, Blackbeard's Flag. Steer Wrestling. We need a Damon versus Delgado cage match.
I'm told that this show can be addictive if you've watched it one or two times. You can't stop watching it. Kind of like a car wreck.
Oh, gosh.
You guys are hilarious. We love watching you guys. Tabitha on Facebook. Thank you.
Somebody said David Zier brings the class to the show. I said, thank God somebody does.
Yeah, I mean, come on. What the hell you think he's here for?
Somebody said
Careful
that.
what you wish for.
Somebody with some sense.
That's right.
What's up, Jeremy?
New segment. Welcome to Delgado's Fireside Theory Chat. That could be a new show, Delgado. You could do on Sundays.
John Boyle said, Rick, are you blowing your socks?
Not yet.
All right.
No, he only does that in the winter.
Yeah,
He runs out to the...
Yeah.
No, once the AC
warm
really
and
gets
cozy.
cooking in here, I might have to do it again.
You could put him in the AC.
No, because it's too cold in here.
No, get frostbitten.
Okay. Will Scharf's probably on hold thinking, what in the hell? What did I get myself into here?
Well,
Yeah, he has no
okay.
idea. Wait.
Okay, he's
It's going
not.
to get better.
Anybody have any questions?
Damon is so rude to Delgado. Get out of
Yeah, what is it with that? I don't know what that is. Something about being a host, I think. They say this complaint about you when you're the host.
I know. Whatever. I don't care.
Hey, you care.
All of a sudden, my nose started running
Yeah.
during the news. What does that tell you?
You better go catch it.
30 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice on a Tuesday night. Glad you're in. Slick Rick's got some more sports. Delgado's got some news. David Zier's going to have some news as well. Aaron and Fran holding it down on the big board, of course. Glad you're in. If you're on the chat on any Facebook, YouTube, any of the platforms, make sure you like and subscribe, share the show. We always appreciate it. Will Scharf is a candidate for Missouri Attorney General. He's a lawyer for President Trump. He worked on 2 SCOTUS confirmations, and of course, he's a former federal prosecutor, and he joins us now on the show, and I can't be more thankful to have him on. Mr. Scharf, how are you? Can he hear me? Mr. Scharf, how are you?
I'm not hearing you guys. I'm sorry. I don't know if you guys are talking to me or not.
Okay. Fran, let's try to work that out, and we'll bring him back on here in a second, so we'll try to work that out.
Sorry.
No problem. As soon as he can hear us, Fran, let me know. We'll bring him back on. So, Delgado, you got a news story right there that we can do while we're waiting to see if Mr. Scharf can hear us?
Sure. Did you hear about this one?
By the way, can I just comment on the news you just did before we went to the break on Hunter? Okay. When you watch Hunter Biden, keep in mind Hunter Biden will have all of his due process rights intact. He'll have a judge that will do the right thing. He'll have a jury of his peers. He will be the total anti what we just saw happen in New York. So when you watch Hunter Biden, understand that everything you see there will be what you should have seen in New York. He'll have a jury of his peers. He'll have all of that will be intact for Hunter. So we have Mr. Scharf now? All right, please welcome Will Scharf back to the program. Mr. Scharf, how are you?
Doing great, guys. Sorry about the technical snafu there.
No problem. It's an honor to have you on. Thank you so much for giving us a few moments. You know, I was just talking about Hunter Biden's trial and how all of his due process rights will certainly be intact there. But, you know, we have Biden here, who's a candidate who's going to run unfettered, obviously, by any legal issues, even though there are many. You have President Trump now, who's going to run as a quote-unquote convicted felon, which obviously is what the Democrat kind of label they wanted to throw on him. But what we've seen, Will, over the last week or so since this verdict is $150 to $200 million in small donations coming in from the citizens of this country who understand that there was no law in that courtroom. That, I think, is what you're seeing. They understand every protection, every rule of evidence, every due process right, jury instructions. It was all thrown out the window so they could get Trump, so they could get him as the target here and not give a damn about the appeal because they knew the damage would be done before the election. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The American people see through what the Biden administration and their allies are doing. They see these cases against President Trump as political prosecutions, as political persecution, frankly. And I think that's why they're turning out in droves to contribute to the campaign. That's why President Trump's poll numbers are rising, not falling. The American people are going to reject this effort to interfere in the 2024 election through lawfare. And I think it's going to be a great fall for us as a result. There was a really interesting moment at the Hunter Biden trial today that I think it's worth mentioning. I don't know if you guys have already talked about this, but Garrett Ziegler, who's the guy who runs Marco Polo, the group that has investigated the Hunter Biden laptop probably more thoroughly than anybody. Hunter Biden's wife came up to him during the trial and basically cursed him out, called him a Nazi, used the F word a bunch of times. It was really pretty shocking. And it's worth noting that President Trump had friends, families, supporters in the courtroom for well over a month in New York. And there were people in that courtroom like Norm Eisen, who ran the legal efforts it was sort of the legal strategist behind the first impeachment. There were a lot of real Trump haters in that room. But not once did you see a scene like that. And I think it goes to show that the Biden family, that Joe Biden, his closest allies, his family members, they really do view themselves as above the law and above accountability. And it was just a shocking reminder of just how divorced their mindset is from reality.
Yeah. You know, one of the things I wanted to give you a chance and some time to really kind of bring into people's focus, because I think we all saw and watched you on Sunday, and little Georgie, as I call him, looked like he stepped on a nail when you started to bring this up. If you're the number 3 guy, let's say at Apple, you're working with Tim Cook, it's really hard to think that you'd go work at like Micro Center. You know, if you're working at NVIDIA, it's hard to believe that you'd go work for like a small startup chip maker. If you're the number 3 at the Department of Justice, what is the justification for taking not only a pay cut, but this so-called demotion, unless you are being instructed to do so, Will?
Yeah, we're talking about Matthew Colangelo. He was one of the lead prosecutors in New York. He previously served as the number 3 in the Biden Department of Justice and then quit in November of 2022 and suddenly shows up in the New York DA's office just in time to kickstart this case against Trump. It's the rough equivalent of like a 4-star general in the Army quitting his job and enlisting in the National Guard as a private. Yeah. Like it's that crazy a situation. And, I believe that this shows that the Biden administration has really been stage managing this prosecution and all of the prosecutions from the start. I think it's very clear evidence of that. And George Stephanopoulos, who I was with on Sunday morning, obviously really didn't want to hear it.
No, he did not. No, he did not. So in 2020, we've heard a lot of talk about Ramos versus Louisiana, the U.S. Supreme Court talking about unanimity in these unanimous jury verdicts, especially in state criminal trials. As we talk here tonight, do we have any idea of what the express finding of this jury was for the other crime? What allowed Alvin Bragg to take this from a misdemeanor where the statute of limitations had run and then do copy paste 34 times? Do we have any idea what the jury found as that other crime?
So there are 3 levels here, right? So there's business records fraud, and then they're claiming that the business records fraud was intended to cover up a misdemeanor violation of New York election law, which is if you interfere with an election by an unlawful means, that's a misdemeanor under New York law. Now, they're saying that the unlawful means was one of a number of different things. And on that last point, we have no clarity whatsoever. It could have been tax fraud. It could have been FECA, federal election law violations. We have absolutely no idea. And the judge was quite explicit that the jury did not have to be unanimous on that point. We believe that was just a straightforward legal error. That's obviously something that we'll be challenging vigorously on appeal. But really throughout this case, what we saw was Judge Merchan just throwing out the playbook if it allowed him to get the jury one step closer to convicting. And I think this jury unanimity issue is Exhibit A of that.
Let's talk about the New York appeal for a second, because obviously we saw with the judge how corrupt the judge was and how in the tank the judge was. But when you think about New York broader and you think about this appeal, you think about investment banks, you think about law firms coming here. When you think about the appeal, is it naive of me to think that the judiciary in New York on the higher courts might be a little more functional and competent? Otherwise, why would all of these big firms be here if they thought that they were just making it up as we went along? Is that naive to think that they may be a little more black letter of the law as you guys go through an appeal?
When we were dealing with Letitia James's civil lawsuit against President Trump, we took a number of issues. This is the case that ended up with that basically $500 million judgment against President Trump and the Trump Organization. We took a number of issues up on appeal to the appellate division, and they gave us great rulings. They overturned Judge Engoron, I think, 4 or 5 times during the course of that case on crucial issues like statute of limitations. They dismissed the defendant, Ivanka Trump. So in that case, at least, we think that the appellate division understood the broader ramifications, that if they just signed off, basically gave a blank check to Tish James to dismantle the Trump Organization, that would be the death knell of business in New York. I hope that the appellate division looks at this case the same way, that if they allow this perversion of justice to stand, I think it just means the end of New York as a society governed by the rule of law. So we're hopeful that they see things that way. It is a very liberal court, but it tends to be a more sophisticated court than you see at the trial level in New York. So I wouldn't say that we're optimistic, but we think we have a better chance at getting a fair shake in front of those judges than we did in front of Judge Merchan.
Yeah, and of course, we've already kind of established that will be after the election. So let's talk about before the election. I want to bring up to you the main reason I wanted to have you on. Mark Levin has been talking since this verdict came out about how to get to the Supreme Court. And I just want to go over a couple of things he said and get your attention. And obviously, number one, your pathway to get to the Supreme Court. He brings up the example of what SCOTUS did versus Bush v. Gore, because it obviously involved the federal election, and obviously the Florida Supreme Court was involved, and they stepped in because they believed that court was violating the Equal Protection Clause. So Levin is talking about this, these different writs to get yourself to the Supreme Court. Have you heard what he has been proposing, and how are you guys approaching this, and are you thinking about this avenue?
Yeah, Mark's a friend, and I have a lot of respect for him. Bush v. Gore was taken up by the Supreme Court on a writ of certiorari after the Florida Supreme Court entered a judgment. So it's not really comparable to the situation here. That was actually a pretty traditional appellate pathway that the Supreme Court stepped in. They granted, highly expedited hearing and decision because of the pendency of the election. But that case had gone all the way up to the Florida Supreme Court before it made it to the Supreme Court. I don't want to give up sort of too much strategy here, but we are looking at all options. We believe that this case is certainly worthy of consideration by the Supreme Court. And I think the faster we could get some of these very weighty constitutional issues in front of the Supreme Court, the better. But in the short term, we probably, to appeal the actual judgment, we have to wait for the judgment to be entered. And that would be at the time of sentencing on July 11th. Once we hit July 11th, though, there are a lot of ways that we can expedite proceedings. There are a lot of ways that we can move much faster than would be normal in a case like this. There are potentially other cases that could be brought that wouldn't be a direct appeal of this verdict. So that's something that we're looking at, and I think other folks around the country are looking at as well. But in terms of the immediate timeline of actually appealing this verdict, we'll wait for judgment to be entered on July 11th, and then we'll proceed as quickly as humanly possible after that.
Yeah, and I think what you just referenced was kind of my second point. With states, Texas, Florida, other states could sue New York, could they not, and bring original actions at the Supreme Court to basically saying that what has happened there is affecting voters, obviously, all over the country in this federal election. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So the Constitution, it's Article 3 of the U.S. Constitution, grants the Supreme Court appellate jurisdiction over judgments basically of the highest court in any state or over federal circuits, other federal decisions. The Constitution, though, also grants original jurisdiction to the Supreme Court. That means cases that can be brought immediately in front of the Supreme Court without going to any other court first in a number of instances. Included in those instances is cases brought by one state against another state or multiple states against another state. That would be a case that would be brought not in a lower court, but directly in the Supreme Court. So certainly there, the Supreme Court would have jurisdiction to hear a case alleging that New York's constitutional violations affected a harm on another state, either through the election or through another legal theory.
And they could seek as relief that New York vacates the order, could they not?
Yeah, potentially they could seek a stay from the Supreme Court, asking the Supreme Court to stay the judgment or to stay in position of any sentence pending final resolution of the case. Once you have a case in front of the Supreme Court, their power and their ability to provide equitable relief, to do different things, to interfere with what's going on is quite broad. So the question is just how you get a case in front of them. And as you said, if a state were to sue the state of New York, that would be an instance where the Supreme Court does have original jurisdiction. I think Mark Levin has mentioned that a couple times as well.
Will, it's a pleasure to have you on. I hope you can have you on again. I really appreciate giving us some time, and thanks for everything you're doing.
Will, it was
Excellent.
great seeing you and talking to you at the trial. There was a lot of angst.
It was a lot of fun. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, Will.
Will Scharf, attorney for President Trump, candidate for Missouri Attorney General as well. Make sure you follow him on social media, and if you're out there in Missouri, make sure you vote. I believe it's around August 4th.
Look, that was your cousin, distant cousin to Delgado.
What'd you say?
You remind me a little of Delgado. Distant cousin.
He is sharp as a
He's
tack,
a little
man.
I've been talking to him for several
Just
months.
did. He remind me of the way he looked.
He's good.
Very sharp guy.
Ask
Wow.
him
Why
one
would you be
question about
surprised?
his own race. You should have asked him about his race.
I wanted to ask him about that.
Nah,
He's like, oh, by the way.
listen, he asked him a question.
We can have him back on to talk about Missouri, but
he was great. No, he's got time for that. He can come on in
I want to
July.
know how Trump's going to get to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, that's key. And then if he gets there, we can only hope and pray.
He didn't seem like overly jumping for joy on the idea of the cert on
Yeah.
the.
Right. He wants to go through the appeal.
Yeah. He
A little
does.
surprised by that.
I guess he feels that's.
I mean, I understand he said that he didn't necessarily see similarities, but the unequal treatment of voters would seem like a big similarity between the two cases.
Well, I'm good friends with his publicist, so I can get him back anytime.
That's great. It's a good get.
Yeah.
Hey, what about your election in Missouri? Did I say that? No. Missouri. How about Louisville? Louisville. L-O-O-V-I-L-L-E. Louisville. Louisville. Not Louisville. Louisville. What happens when you live in New York? You talk like this. Coffee. Wow. A dead sports
Did you
night.
bring coffee and stuff?
No, I was out all day. I couldn't have that creamer in the back of my car.
No.
It would have been turds or curds. Been no good, man. You've been blowing mud.
Yum.
Woo. Oh man, can't believe they're taking a whole week off for the finals. These guys, what are they nursing their injuries? I guess I don't.
Exactly what they're doing.
Come on, Big D, tough it up, man. You gotta get out there like Gump Worsley back in the day.
I-13 to the hour, live from Studio 6B. I want to thank Will Scharf for joining us. I want to thank David Zier for helping set that up. Mr. Scharf, man, he is brilliant.
Sharp.
I can remember when I saw he was joining the Trump team, I said, that's the best move they've made in a long time. So good for him. Glad to have him on. Hope he'll come back. 13 to the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Tuesday. Let's do some news with the host of Breaking Point. As I just said, 8 a.m. right here Saturday mornings. And that, of course, is David Zier. Mr. Zier, what's going on?
Oh, thank you, Damon. There's so much going on, but I wanted to share some of the remaining interviews I did. I've been posting them on social media with the families of the hostages. I have this man, cut number 7, his brother was taken hostage. I was with about 30 family members Saturday night. I spent a few hours with them. Just very tragic.
Hi, my name is Moshe Or. I am the brother of Avinatano, who was kidnapped together with his girlfriend Noah Argamani while they were dancing on the Nova Festival. But since then, we didn't receive any sign of him, and we don't know what about him, and we don't know what is his condition, and we're very worried about
Do you have a
him.
message for the American people?
The only thing I want is Avinatan come back to me, to my home, safely. I don't care the cost, and I don't give. I don't care what will be the price and what will be the cost. Avinatan was living his life, and he do what every couple needs to do together with his girlfriend Noah. They were celebrating their life. They were dancing. They had fun. This is what they need to do. This is what they should to do. It doesn't supposed to end like this in the Hamas tunnel.
And I just wanted to go to cut number 5 with Aurea again, who I showed my interview last night, but I have several clips of it. She's asking, why is the world so silent about the hostages? Very moving. Tomorrow, the Israeli Day Parade. You'll be marching in there with other families?
Yes, we are going to be marching to bring again the awareness to the world that there has been 239 days that people.
Hard to believe.
You know something, David? I was sure that in a day or two this problem will be solved, because this is something that never happened in a Western country. never, ever has a baby and a toddler been kidnapped and being held in captivity. And I can't believe the world is still silent about it. I was sure that the world will stand up and say, this is a red line. Okay, this is a red line. But here we are, 8 months after.
Yeah, very, very moving stuff. These people were really great. I got just two more for you guys later. And I just wanted to throw to this video with Matt Gaetz and Merrick Garland on Matthew Colangelo, cut number 10. I don't know, was this today?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're going to go to cut number 10.
But you had no problem dispatching Matthew Colangelo. Who's Matthew Colangelo?
That is false. I did not dispatch Matthew Colangelo.
Matthew Colangelo became the Assistant Attorney General at the very beginning of the Biden administration. Without having been Senate confirmed, goes and gets this senior role at the DOJ. And then after, I believe it's Gupta replaces Colangelo, Colangelo makes this remarkable downstream career journey from the U.S. Department of Justice in Washington, D.C., and then pops up in Alvin Bragg's office to go get Trump. And you're saying that's just a career choice that was made that has nothing to do with...
We just talked to Will Scharf about this.
I'm saying it's false. I did not dispatch Mr. Colangelo anywhere.
Weasel.
Well, do you know how he ended up there?
I assume he applied for a job there and got the job.
You know what?
Tell you I had nothing
He
to
went
do
on
with it.
Well,
Indeed.
you might not have had anything to do with it, but we've got this contemporaneous evidence in Mr. Pomerantz's book. So Pomerantz writes this book, which I'm sure you're aware of, where he says, we put together the legal eagles to get Trump. We got all these folks together and we assembled them for that purpose. And so when we on the Judiciary Committee think about attacks on the judicial process, our concern is that the facts and the law aren't being followed. A target is acquired here, Trump, and then you assemble the legal talent from DOJ, Mr. Pomerantz, and you bring everybody in to get him. And meanwhile, the judge is making money on it. The judge is making money on it, or the judge's family's making money on it for stuff that you yourself wouldn't do. You know, no one's going to buy this. No one's going to believe it. It's going to create great disruption. And I am saddened by it because, like you, I have given my life to the law. I care deeply about the law. And I think that the lawfare we've seen against President Trump will do great damage well beyond our time in public service. I see my time's expired. I yield back.
Yeah, and just to add, Bannon was saying, Garland's always so nervous, and he is very creepy. And
I mean, just to stick with that for 1 second, because we just talked to Will Scharf about this. Again, the idea that the number 3... This is why little Georgie on Sunday with Will Scharf looked like he stepped on a nail when this subject came up, and then Shannon Bream, obviously at Fox, she doesn't. They all just don't. Clue. Oh no, there's no connection to buy. Yeah, the number 3 guy at DOJ just decided that he was going to go apply through Indeed, apply for a job at Alvin Bragg's office. That's like I said to Will, you're working at Apple with Tim Cook, and you decide to go work at Micro Center. Sell computers to people walking in. What are you talking about?
No, you're going to join the Geek Squad.
At Best Buy.
Right.
I love Micro Center.
No, but I mean, it's idiotic. I mean, of course Garland's going to sit there and go, that's not true. We all know it's true. So, of course, he's not going to admit it. There's no other justification for it. Why would you leave the Department of Justice, the number 3 guy, to take a demotion, to take a cut in pay in your prime of your whatever he wants to call it, his career or his whatever, if it wasn't directly told to him, you're going to go get Trump in that office, or you're going to go make sure they get him, or you're going to go make sure that this happens. Like he just decided, I'm going to go leave and go work for Fat Alvin Bragg because that sounds like fun.
Because that's where my career is really going to take off. People are going to notice me.
Yeah, the DA's office.
I mean, it's just
I'm an ADA.
And they try to justify it. Oh no, it's nothing to do with Biden, nothing to do with the administration. Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
and
well,
Bragg
in another part, I think it was Gates who was asking him about those emails. He said, "We'd like to see your email." Well, if there was no coordination, then you should have no problem.
Yeah.
You said there's no ties, so then let us see your emails and it'll be done with it. But of course, there's going to be resistance. They don't want them to see those emails because then they'll see the coordination.
Yeah.
You know, I saw a lot more on this. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to send in any clips, but it was just amazing because you see, and Merrick Garland, he is just a slime ball. You could tell he's a slime ball, but he's also Obama's guy. So eventually, the audio from the special counsel, her
altered,
right. That's in a skiff, but that's going to get out because it'll be ordered out by someone above, who's above his pay grade, and that audio will find its way out into the ether, and you'll get to hear it for yourself, and then compare it to what the transcript says, and then also look at, her said he was had bad memory. He would be sympathetic in front of a jury because they'd see him as an old, feeble man, that kind of thing. So that's what they're trying to hide.
All right, what else, David?
Columbia University had a donor. There's about 20 seconds here. Gave $260 million over to an Israeli university. It would make him about 100 years old. He's anonymous, but panning Columbia University because of their anti-Semitic actions.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. That was in the New York Post.
All right, more news with David Zier, more sports with Slick, all coming up. Hour 2, news with Delgado, live from Studio 6B. We're back right after this.
Where is he?
He's taking a great interest in you. He's in Getter.
Hammer Chuck. He's great. We love Hammer Chuck.
What kind of bike do you ride, Delgado?
Specialized S-Works.
You do
tarmac.
those classes with that girl who does all those videos from Peloton?
No,
you don't. Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Why? I have a Peloton. Is it any good? Good classes?
I don't know. The girl who runs their bike thing is pretty famous.
Oh, yeah?
Is she?
Yeah.
Leah Tard. Is that her name?
No, I don't know her name.
Merrick Garland was great as the evil emperor in Star Wars. That's all I got to say.
Damon will ride his Peloton to Woody's. No.
Can I chain my bike outside?
It's not a bad idea.
That's funny.
That is funny. Good. That's a good one right there. That's a good one right there. Big D, you got to start rocking the cowboy hats here tonight. Everybody's asking for the cowboy hat. Come on, Big D.
I like it better at home. I don't know. I wear it when no one's around.
Oh, do you have like what's his name? Who was the guy? Steeler quarterback. Was it Terry Bradshaw?
Oh, yeah.
In that movie? I think it was Failure to Launch. Matthew McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey finally moves out, and they turn his room into a naked room for Dad. And it was his father was Terry Bradshaw just standing there naked in a hat.
No, I've never done that.
Feeding his fish. You got fish?
Damon,
did
did Trump's
fish tank?
lawyers? No, I have no fish. Have the right to poll the jury? I don't know.
They did poll the jury.
Okay, they did.
Yes.
How many cowboy hats do you have? I have 3.
Oof. When do you wear your cowboy hat? When you travel?
No.
With his pajamas.
When you pick up the mail?
Sometimes during the day.
He goes out to pick up the mail.
Yeah, I put it
He
on if I
does
go
this.
to pick up the mail.
Oh, come
He
on.
goes out to get the mail. He comes back home.
I'll go get myself a couple peels of beef jerky. Let me get my beef
When
jerky.
he's on his rider mower.
Sing some Garth Brooks, play the
at
guitar.
7-Eleven.
He's on his rider mower just like, woo!
He does not. That guy does not cut his grass. He's got a landscaper. Are you kidding me? Rider mower.
right, hour 2, live from Studio 6B, 9 p.m. on the East Coast. Real America's Voice. Glad you're in.
Looks good on you, though.
People talking about my cowboy hat in the commercial break. Why I don't wear it on the show. I will. I've worn it before.
I think you wore it once.
No, it's not true.
Once or twice.
Yeah, once or twice.
We get denim jacket.
Twice. Ooh. David, how many heads of cattle go with those hats?
Right? Delgado should wear a hat.
We'll do some news in hour 2 with David Zier. Sports with Slick. Delgado's got some news as well. Aaron and Fran holding it down. Will Scharf joined us in the last hour, 8:30. Good conversation. Still trying to process what he didn't like about the idea of
the writs.
Yeah, the common law writs that Levin has been talking about, saying that well, maybe he was just being, like he said, he didn't want to give too much away.
They got to do both. They got to do everything. Start the appeal process first and then go there. Or?
Well, certainly they got to do both for sure. If you missed my interview with Will Scharf, we'll post it probably tonight on social media. It'll be on X. If you're following us on social media, make sure if you're not, you are. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe, share. YouTube, Facebook, Kick, Rumble, X, everybody, everywhere.
Damon, I just wanted to add about Mark Levin was saying today, even if Trump lost it, because it's a big gambit, right? It's a big gamble.
Whether the court would take it, yeah.
Right? But he's saying he has to, because maybe in 2028 we have the same problem, and that person's going to face this. So that's what.
Well, Levin's point. There's many reasons he has to, because we can't have federal elections where you can have one state prosecutor and one Soros-backed prosecutor and one judge being able to take the federal election and twist it on its head like this. And this is the point of what Levin is saying in the common law writ and comparing it to what happened in Florida. Basically saying that the court stepped in Bush v. Gore because the Florida Supreme Court was violating the Equal Protection Clause. That is what they settled on. The unequal treatment of voters. Mm-hmm. And so here you have New York, a state that's affecting the outcome of a presidential election. I mean, and what's happening here, Levin argues, is probably worse than what was happening in Florida at the time. You have New York seizing federal authority from the Federal Elections Commission in the U.S. Attorney's Office, which rejected this claim of having an FEC violation. Why they didn't take it up. So as he argues, you have this serious constitutional breach that needs to be addressed by the Supreme Court. You can't violate every concept of due process and let that stand. Because trust me, if New York gets away with it, guess what? You're going to see it in every damn blue state you can anytime anyone's running they don't like. Look what happened in Colorado. The Supreme Court smacked down. We're trying to take Trump off the ballot from the 14th Amendment. You have to get this to the Supreme Court.
And other states did it, right?
Yes, they tried, but what I'm saying is the Supreme Court listened to that and smacked it down, and unanimously, by the way.
Right, and then the other states backed off. They're like, well, this is where this is headed, so they backed off.
So you don't abandon your appeal in New York, obviously. You have to go that road, and I think Will did a good job of explaining that, the higher up New York, there may be some sense there. Yes, they're a liberal court. But you don't become the economic Western capital of the world if all these big multinational corporations and law firms and banks and everything else came here thinking that the courts are just making it up as they go along, as this judge did. No investment bank would ever do business here with the idea that they have that they couldn't get. So with every court was corrupt on every level, and they're just making it up. They would have to think that they're more impartial and more like black letter of the law to what's going on. So I that doesn't surprise me when they look at this appeal. But again, the whole point of this is they knew any appeal, they want to slap the moniker on And now look who's adopted it. Soros is out there saying everybody needs to refer to him on the left as a convicted felon. Biden now used it for the first time. That's all. They've got what they wanted. We'll see what happens July 11th. Now, I saw someone, I forget who it was today, make the case that the Trump team should ask for an expedited sentencing before July 11th.
Really? Now, why is that?
Because I think they want to get it out of the way before having to try to move the convention, I would think.
Oh, yeah.
Put the pressure on. Okay, you want it just right now. Well, let's hear what it's going to be. You know, because you wait till July 11th, and I know there's a lot of still people who argue, oh, no, he's going to get, a little slap on the wrist. I just think that's delusional.
34 counts.
I just think that's delusional.
It's a lot.
You're going to get a judge who's going to say, well, I got to follow what I know he's a first-time offender.
You think they're going to cross that line and put him in jail?
34 counts.
I don't know about that.
What are you kidding?
We should take a bet on the show.
You think the judge has come this far to all of a sudden now say, okay, home confinement is okay?
David, did you really think the raid was going to happen?
Well, listen, there's a lot of different issues.
I'm asking you because you're saying,
whatever.
Do you think they would go for it? Because back when the raid happened, even before the raid happened, we were like, they would never do something like that.
I'm talking about first-time offenders, Class C felonies don't usually see jail time.
Ex-presidents usually don't see raids.
I get it.
So you don't think he'll...
I don't know. I think crossing that line would be a major deal. I think they've inflicted a lot of damage already, and I'm not so sure yet.
Do you think that line is that much farther away from every other line they've already crossed?
Taking him off the campaign trail, home confinement, ankle bracelets, Rikers Island, I think it's an automatic win for Trump in the election in November. So I'm not so sure yet. I have to, feel this out a little bit more. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you know what? As far as I see it, the ends justify the means for them. They don't care. They do not care. They've already proven they do not care. They don't care about precedent.
Nope.
They don't care about rule of law.
History.
They care about nothing. They don't care about the honor or the dignity of the presidency, the former presidents whatsoever. They do not care.
I told you.
All they care about is they have seized power now, David, and they refuse to let it go. What they see coming at them is a train that's going to run them down. And now what they've done, they've done it to themselves, is they've opened up this entire Pandora's box of crap that can be turned around and now done to them, and the American people will be like, yeah, it's okay. They did it to him. Why not? Yeah. They've already established that line. We were talking about that earlier about, they went this far to see how far they can get, and now this is the new normal. This is the new normal.
It always is. They always push the envelope. Yeah. When I was in the trial, I was shaking my head, and I was getting really depressed about how the judge, before the instructions, a week before the instructions were issued, that I felt like he was steering the jury to have an out to convict Trump, even though we couldn't identify that second crime. And I was very worried. And I thought the defense did a good job, but obviously not enough, right? Because the fix was in. So I get it. The fix is in.
At this point, to be honest, I will be extremely surprised if they do not try to put him in jail. And if they don't put him, not even try. If they don't, I would be more surprised. I think they're going to.
Yeah. And what's crazy is that I don't know where I saw a quick clip this morning. I was scrolling through X where President Trump actually, it almost seems like he's welcoming it.
We said so on Fox. He said, I'm okay with it.
That's what it was. Yeah.
It's been saying
he said, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. Like, what does he know that we don't know?
He said it before the trial started. I don't care. But I'll go to jail for you.
But it's amazing because it's almost like he knows this is where they're going. I'm already prepared for this. I know where this is headed, and I've already game planned this all. The war room has already been through it. We've already run through the scenarios. We know how this is going to play. I feel like that's where he's coming from. When I heard him say something like that, almost like, yeah, I'm cool. It's like, what? Who would be cool? I'm sorry. Dude, you have gold fixtures on your toilets. Nothing would be cool about that. If that was me, I'd be like, that ain't cool. I'm doing that. What?
James Comey, I saw on with, I don't know who it was, Psaki or somebody, discussing how they could do it and what they'd have to do to give him his own whatever. And of course, obviously, as we keep talking about, and I've heard no talk about the idea of moving the RNC, July 11th being 4 days before I believe the supposed RNC is going to start. And an RNC without your candidate would certainly be an interesting Pandora's box to open as well.
Wow.
Or if he's got a Zoom call it in.
And how that would work. Still hearing rumblings about Nikki Haley making a challenge, if that is the case, and Trump is they tried to put him at Rikers.
God.
So there's a lot of balls in the air with this. But getting back to just the overall thing, I just don't see how we come this far for the judge to now try to play nicety nice.
Yeah, I
think the judge is thinking about his book. I think the judge is thinking about his retirement. I think he's thinking about being a folklore in the left's history books of being that guy who finally got the guy that they've wanted to get for 10 years now.
Yeah, and then you've got what? Benny Thompson looking to deprive Donald Trump of the Secret Service protection if he goes to prison.
Again, if there's any doubt that they're always on the move, they are always on the move, and they understand how to wield their power, and they do it cold, relentlessly, with no thought of anything else other than keeping and expanding their power.
Yeah.
And I watched I don't watch his show, but I did see a clip of Jesse Kelly today talking about this exact idea of going back when Trump, when people were calling for Trump to put Clinton in jail, lock her up, and to hear his explanation of why he didn't, he could have, why he didn't, and why he didn't want to use that power to put a former president's wife in jail. He played the clip of that in an interview that Trump gave. And his point being, the right either has to understand that if we don't start playing with brass knuckles as well, they're never going to stop doing it. They're never going to stop swinging with brass knucks on, ever.
Because that's the new normal. And you keep taking it, and they know it.
All right, news and sports all coming up.
Greatest license plates.
They're great. I went to the commissary today. Robert Graydon, get a chat. They put President Trump in jail. That should be end of the Democratic Party. Nope. Oh, God. Is he kidding me?
Nope.
That's ridiculous, and that's not true.
They stay with their own, man.
That's why.
He's a-
Why do you
he's
think
a-
they're never afraid
he's
of
a
us when you
swamp
have people
creature.
like Lindsey Graham saying,
He's a swamp creature.
"Oh, if this guy's name wasn't Biden, he wouldn't be on a gun charge."
Why
Do you,
even
bel-
say
that-
so?
do you believe that?
Well, you could think that if you want
It
to be
says
that
this
stupid.
today.
But you say that?
He says it today.
Oh, what an idiot. That's a real moron. I never had any respect for him anyway, so I can't say I lost respect. What triggered that comment?
He was giving some interview to some left-wing rag, of course, probably trying to be nice and be wanted and liked and everything. Oh, if this guy's name wasn't Biden, he wouldn't be on his gun charge. I don't think any other American would get a really lying on a federal form about being on drugs and owning a gun. You wouldn't get.
That's like saying,
You have a read here.
You wonder why they're not afraid of the right to put former presidents in jail, like give you the middle finger while they're doing it. What are you going to do about it?
He had his computer. He didn't have it in
Nothing.
his lap, though, so I wouldn't call it a laptop. This guy's just. Oh, boy.
What do I have here? AMAC?
Yep.
Just did AMAC yesterday.
Did we? $750 a year.
Hate the- All right, 17 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. Sounds like the blues, which means I'm going to talk to you about our friends over at AMAC. You know, this month we celebrate Father's Day, and I'm sure that reminds everybody to think about their dad. And your dads were men of strong values. I'm sure they went to church, had family dinners, they honored the flag. These are the values that shaped your home. I'm sure so many of your dads taught you to stand up for your beliefs, cherish your loved ones, and appreciate your freedoms. Well, this Father's Day found a perfect way to honor your dad's legacy, and that, of course, would be with an AMAC membership. AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, champions the values that fathers instilled in all of us: faith, family, and freedom. Go to amac.us/Studio 6B, amac.us/Studio 6B. By joining AMAC, you support an organization that fights for these principles. For June, you can get a 2-year membership for $100? No. $80? No. $50? No. $20? No. $16. 2 years, $16. 2 years for the price of one. Join thousands of others to be a proud AMAC member. Visit amac.us/Studio 6B and celebrate Father's Day by standing up for what your dad believed in.
Yep.
amac.us/Studio 6B. Go there now. Sign up. 2 years for $16. I mean, that is just crazy. Oof. All right, live from Studio 6B, 18 past the hour. Let's do a little sports with Slick Rick. What's going on, Slick?
All right, well, let's talk about
Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell and MyPillow. How dare me almost forget that.
Yeah.
LFS 6B is the code to use. Slickster, what's going on?
Okay, well, let's switch gears a little bit and get to the little NCAA softball Big D. ESPN, the stage for the 2024 Women's College World Series Finals is set. Number 1 Texas will take on number 2 Oklahoma in the national championship. I guess so much for the drama, huh? Number 1's playing number 2. They just went through the process just for the process. But the Longhorns sealed their fate Monday by defeating number 8 Stanford, but it took 2 days and a dramatic walk-off run for the Sooners to punch their ticket. Florida upset Oklahoma 9-3 Monday to send the Sooners to the elimination game. Tuesday game was a back-and-forth battle, but in extra innings, Jada Coleman hit a 229-foot homer to give the Sooners a 6-5 victory. The Women's College World Series Championship begins tomorrow, so we'll be tracking that. I will give live updates throughout. I really love that. It's fantastic. And go. Who you like here? Florida. We'll see. Well, come on, Big D.
What is this? The women's what?
Women's College World Series softball. It's good stuff. I got a lot of people ask for that. Come on, Big D.
Oh, really?
Let's go. Yes.
All right.
Major League Baseball. Let's get to the scoreboard right now. Brewers and Phillies tied at 1. Bottom of the 9th. Good pitchers duel there. Bottom 9. Rays lead the Marlins 9-5. Mets 6-3 over the Nationals. Bottom of the 9th. Yankees 3-1 over the Twins. That's in the 8th. And the 7 Orioles over the Blue Jays 8-1. Braves lead the Red Sox 7-3. Top of the 9th. White Sox blanking the Cubs with a rain delay in Chicago. Chicago right now, so no action there. Tigers 3-0 over the Rangers, end of 5. The Astros 6-1 over the Cardinals. That's in the bottom of the third. End of the third. Reds blanking the Rockies 2-0. They'll blow that one. Guardians 8-5 over the Royals earlier today. And the Pirates blanked the Dodgers 1-0 in Pittsburgh. One more game on the docket, and that'll be at 9:38. First pitch. That'd be the Padres at the Angels. And we'll get to a quick story here in Fox News. How about this one? Scotty Scheffler talks arrest after charges dropped in Louisville. It's not something I love reliving. Scheffler is in Dublin, Ohio, preparing for the Memorial Tournament this week with the U.S. Open next. Scott Thompson of Fox News. There have been 2 PGA Tour events since the now infamous PGA Championship at Valhalla Golf Club, which saw world number 1 golfer Scotty Scheffler in an orange jumpsuit after being arrested outside the course before his second round. But it wasn't until last week that Louisville Metro Police agreed to drop all charges against Scheffler, who has been a consistent in saying the situation was a big misunderstanding. Scheffler spoke with reporters for the first time since the charges were dropped at Murrayfield Village Golf Club ahead of the Memorial Tournament this week, and he feels now is the more appropriate time to speak on it. To be honest with you, it's not something I love reliving, just because it was fairly traumatic for me being arrested going into the golf course, Scheffler told reporters via ESPN. It was definitely a bit of a relief, but not total relief, because that's something that will always kind of stick with me. That mugshot, I'm sure, is not going anywhere anytime soon. PGA Championship victor Xander Schauffele admitted that his group chat, which involves Scheffler and other golfers, tried to make light of the situation, especially with the mugshot, because the group's chats is the chat's new photo. Golf fans were also extremely quick to get the mugshots on T-shirts, which of course, but with the internet is forever, and the event is certainly one of the most wild we've seen in professional sports in quite some time. Scheffler is right; it won't be going anywhere anytime soon. So, Scotty Scheffler's still a little shooken up over that Louisville incident, but hopefully he'll move on. After all, he is the world's number 1 golfer, Big D. How about a nice another PGA Tour championship victory? I think that'll make him feel real good. And that's a wrap in sports. Back to you.
All right, Slick, very good. We'll do some more sports for the end of the show. There are some primaries going on tonight: New Jersey, Montana, Iowa, New Mexico, South Dakota, D.C. We'll get to some results if there's races that matter. I do see in New Jersey, obviously Trump, Biden both won theirs. As far as the U.S. Senate goes, Andy Kim won on the Democrat primary side, and on the Republican side, Curtis Bashaw. Bashaw, Bashaw, with 81,000 votes, got 55.8%. He won the race, beating Christine Serrano-Glassner, Justin Murphy, and Albert Harshaw. So that's what's happened in New Jersey. There's some House races there as well. Montana, there's no results yet. Obviously, polls have not closed. In Iowa, you have some state legislature and U.S. House elections going on. New Mexico, obviously Trump wins, Biden wins, and then again you have state house, state legislature, a couple other races going on. South Dakota, same thing in state house and Senate races out there, and in DC, I mean, who cares? Just a mess. So that's what's going on. Let's do some news with Rick Delgado. What's going on, Delgado?
All right. Well, I don't know if you, since you are talking about some election stuff, why don't we go over to merry old England? Yes, outside of Big Ben in the House of Parliament in Westminster Abbey. This happened. This is cut number 3. Believe it or not, I guess President Trump is gaining steam not only in this country, but in others as well across the pond. Check this out. This happened in London. It looks like it could have been a Trump rally. I don't know. You take a look.
Our message to Donald Trump and the United States and every American who's watching this: your election in November is far bigger than your country. Okay? Donald Trump is needed in this world to bring back peace.
Really?
His leadership is needed to save the West. All our countries are being flooded. They are destroying our cultures. They're bringing us down. It's an attack on the West. And there's only one person who's going to stop it. You have the opportunity in November with these legends.
Again, that's happening in London. the UK. Kind of unbelievable when you stop and think about it.
And Nigel Farage is running again for the parliament over there. Raheem Kassam has a great piece on that today as leader of the Reform UK party. And he led the Brexit.
But you see that people are looking at this election, this 2024 election here in this country, as not only make a break for this country, but for others around the world, which is kind of weird when you stop and think about it. But I guess it has that much of an impact, and the ramifications in terms of what that speaker was asking for, bring back peace. Because let's face it, what did we do today? Ukraine just launched their first missile that Biden said they could use to shoot into Russia. Kind of upping the ante, so to speak. So as we hurtle towards war, more are looking for peace.
Ukraine droned a Russian convoy, did a lot of damage inside Russia too. 100 conscripts in the trucks.
All right, we're back right after this.
Trump endorsed Glassner. I interviewed her in Wildwood. She spoke too. Lost by double digits.
Is the bathroom of Woody's. Their campaign headquarters is the bathroom of Woody's. Yeah. Rainbows.
Guy Bashaw is a
a pair of black
hotel guy, entrepreneur.
A little bit of rainbow.
Why am I not surprised?
Not all the colors. Pink.
I'll be at one of his restaurants next week for my son's wedding at Congress Hall down in Cape May.
You own a Woody's?
He owns a lot of restaurants. Yeah, I'll be looking for Woody's. I'm driving by Belmar.
They're going to have the bachelor party at Woody's.
You're going to be in Belmar?
No, I'm going to be in Cape May next week for my son's wedding, but I'll drive past Belmar.
That'll be Woody's 2.
I'll look for Woody's 2.
I think Woody's 2 is over there.
Yeah.
Oh, Woody's 2.
But I was saying the candidate
like
that Glassner lost to owns a bunch of restaurants, including Congress Hall, which is this incredible restaurant in Cape May.
Someone said Woody's is selling T-shirts. Damon was here.
Oh, no.
Damon was here? Or, no. Okay. I just want to get that clear.
It'd be more like Damon attempted to be here.
Entrance and rear.
Entrance and rear.
Oh, why you got to do that? Why you got to go there, Dave?
I'm sorry.
Oh.
I can't help myself.
Unbelievable.
Brent Mosey says, at least it didn't say Damon came here.
Oh,
come on.
God. Oh, man.
Just reading what he
Brent
wrote.
Mosey.
Good.
I mean, come on.
Lord.
Holy moly.
Jeez.
He's Palomino.
Hopefully you had a wad of cash when you went there. Hey, come on.
Well, Tommy Viper, what's going on? When there's no Wendy's, there's no Woody's.
That's right.
Woody's is naming a Big Bun Burger after Damon.
Oh, come on, man.
Hold the pickle, hold the lettuce.
Hold on to everything.
Damon doesn't let us. Hold the pickle.
Ricky Cope.
Hold the pickle and lettuce.
Ricky Cope, look for the Bigfoot long sign.
What do you want on your bun? Talk about a special sauce.
Just don't ask for double meat. Oh, come on. Why would you say that? That's we're making Woody's great again.
I mean, I don't know. This show just devolves into I don't know what so quickly sometimes, mostly in the commercial breaks, thankfully. So
Yeah, but it wasn't us this time.
No, what's I mean,
It
well,
was somebody in the chat.
That's right.
We had a
yeah,
Morga.
someone like the whole entire chat.
Make Woody's great again, Morga.
Yeah. That could be a T-shirt. Make Woody's great again. All right, 30 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B. Let's do some more news. We'll do news with David Zier here in a second, but let's do a little more with Rick Delgado. News is brought to you by 7 Cells, which I don't think I've even said once tonight. 7cells.com. Use our code LFS6B at checkout. What's going on?
All right. Well, I don't know if you caught this from John Solomon's Just the News, but great news as a matter of fact. You know, we've talked about whistleblowers in the past.
Yeah.
Finally, some good news for these whistleblowers. FBI whistleblower wins settlement from agency, including restoration of pay and security clearance. Believe it or not, the FBI buckled on this one. They reached a settlement with whistleblower Marcus Allen after he was suspended without pay and had a security clearance pulled after he made protected disclosures regarding the testimony of Director Christopher Wray concerning the January 6, 2021 Capitol riot. The nonprofit watchdog Empower Oversight announced a settlement earlier today after it filed an appeal on behalf of Allen back in October of 2023. The settlement includes 27 months of back pay and benefits that the FBI withheld from Allen since he was suspended in February of 2022. Separately, the FBI also restored his security clearance.
Yep.
House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan said the FBI's decision to reinstate Allen's security clearance was total vindication for a great patriot who bravely stood up to expose misconduct at the FBI despite attacks from the FBI, the bureaucrats, and congressional Democrats. Allen, who resigned voluntarily from the FBI this week, said the Bureau retaliated against him for his disclosure, although a final OIG report would likely have supported Allen's retaliation claims. The FBI granted his appeal before the report came out with its findings. The Empower Oversight said in a press release regarding the settlement. While I feel vindicated, he said, in getting my security clearance back, it's sad that in this country I fought for as a Marine that the FBI was allowed to lie about my loyalty to the U.S. for 2 years. Unless there is accountability, it will keep happening to others. Better oversight and changes to security clearance laws are key to stop abuses suffered by whistleblowers like me. Like Jordan, Oversight President Tristan Levitt called the settlement a total vindication, and he also said that the FBI has completely backed down and provided everything we asked for on behalf of Marcus. It's clear from the evidence that the FBI's capitulation there was absolutely no truth to their accusations. We couldn't be happier for Marcus and his family, but there are still others that need to be taken care of. Jordan is urging the FBI to reinstate the security clearance of Garrett O'Boyle and Stephen Friend as well, both of whom had their clearances suspended after they came forward as whistleblowers. So hopefully this is the first of many, because remember, when these guys testified, you know, they talked about how the FBI will crush you if you come out and say anything about
it. They threatened to take your pension away, and there's at least 106 agents that were retaliated against for whistleblowing. Terrible.
They stop your pay. There was one guy, I guess, that he had just changed offices. I forget if it was this agent or not. And they withheld pay. He couldn't get clothes for his family. He couldn't pay any of his bills. So great news for the whistleblowers, at least in this case, and hopefully they'll do what they're supposed to do when it comes to these other whistleblowers and restore their security clearance. Oh. It's just insane. I don't know if you caught this. Joe Biden was out there playing tough guy again. According to Time, he says he's more physically viable than Time reporters interviewing. He says, "Hey, man, I can take you too." Believe it or not.
I saw this. Yeah.
Said he was. President Biden said
sounds like he's threatening the reporter, if you ask me.
It does sound like a threat of violence. Sure, it does. Said he was more physically able to do the job of the presidency than anyone, appearing to joke in a new interview that he could beat up reporters who asked about his advanced age. Biden sat down with Time magazine at the White House last month. Yes, I know. In a lengthy interview published on Tuesday, at one point, Biden was asked if he could still do the job as an 85-year-old man who will be considered too old to lead by many Americans if he wins a second term. Of course, Biden responded, "I can do it better than anybody, You looking at me, I can take you too." Biden told Time, according to the Washington bureau chief Sam Jacobs. Biden, who was presumably joking, but we never know with this guy, said he never considered not running again because of his age and offered a message to Americans who were worried about it. Watch me. He really said, watch me.
Oh, my God.
I'm not joking. Not a joke. Not hyperbole.
Not a joke, man.
Watch me. Look, name me a president who's gotten as much done as I've done in my first 3.5 years. I can't say that without laughing. With all the you wrote about me in Time magazine, I couldn't get any of it done. When you told me there was no pay, no way you can get $1 trillion+ bill done in terms of a deal to deal with infrastructure. There's no way to get $368 billion for dealing with the environment. There's no way he can get legislation passed, man. This guy's a tool. So yeah, that's from the Time magazine article. Go read it for yourself. It's chock full of fun and hijinks with the demented old fool known as President Joe Biden.
All right, very good.
There you have it.
All right, we'll do some more news with Delgado. Let's do some news now with the host of Breaking Point, 8 a.m. right here Saturday mornings. And that, of course, is David Zier. Mr. Zier, what's going on?
Well, to add to your story, Rick, about Britain, the UK, Boris Johnson, former Prime Minister, said it was a mob-style hit job on Trump, the conviction. So I wanted to play some quick stuff for you. This is Aurea, who I showed yesterday. She basically says, we're a simple family. Cut number 6. We only wanted to live peacefully in Israel. Real America's Voice News is sending prayers to you and your family. And we just want to make sure that your voice is heard.
Thank you, David. I do want to add something, another thing. Shiri and Yarden are the most regular people I know. They're just a couple who wanted to raise their children in their little home with their dog, who was, by the way, shot on the 7th of October. He was killed by Hamas. And they're just simple people. We are not looking for any, I don't know, for war. We're just peaceful people who wants to live in peace. That's it.
Yeah, her cousin, his wife, and a 9-month-old and a 4-year-old, all abducted, no signs of life. And this is the only time in history, like she said before, that babies have been kidnapped by terrorists and held hostage. I wanted to get to Henri. Henri, this is a family member. Cut number 8. He lost a relative again in Israel on October 7th.
Omri is 47 years old. He was kidnapped from his home in Kibbutz Nachalos. Was held captive there with my sister, Rishai, and their 2 daughters. Borny and Alma, 4 hours in the kibbutz. They were grouped with another family, the Dan family. And eventually Omri was kidnapped alongside Tzachi Dan and Judith and Natalie Ranan. And since that day, we've been advocating for his release, whether here in the US, meeting anybody we can, both regional stakeholders and of course people in the capital, and of course in Israel and other parts of the world. I try to be optimistic like Gilad, but I'm not optimistic about the prospect of a deal, knowing the players, but we try and make sure that all the stakeholders understand when we meet them that a deal is imperative for our social contract in Israel, for upholding cohesiveness in our society. And thank you for being an ally for the hostages' families who are sadly being challenged daily from all sides of the spectrum, whether abroad by pro-Hamas demonstrators, whether on social media, and also in Israel by those who don't believe that the hostages should be the release of the hostages should be a primary objective. So we try and push against all the hate we receive, and come with our message of hope, love.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, before I get to one more quick cut that's a minute long. New York City, a 9-year-old was shot yesterday in the park in Brooklyn, along with her cousin, I think, who is older. And, the 6-year-old girl gets a necklace, guy's trying to steal a necklace in Brooklyn and drags a 6-year-old down the street, choking her. This is what's going on in New York City. I just want to get to one last cut. 11. Israel is an Islamic country. This is how stupid the anti-Israel protesters are. Check this out.
And so I did a study abroad in the Middle East with Israel and Palestine.
Would you say you're pro-Palestine or pro-Israel?
Pro-Palestine.
As a gay man, I would be punished and or put in prison or killed if I were openly gay in Palestine. How do you react to that?
I didn't know that. So
it is illegal to be gay in Palestine. You are punished by prison or death.
Israel?
No, Israel has gay pride. Israel is completely open to lesbian and gay people. So Palestine puts them in prison or kills them. You weren't aware of that?
I was not aware of that, no. So that does pose an interesting aspect.
Have you seen the Queers for Palestine movement? It's a very common movement, but I don't see any Muslims for Queer movements.
Yes. That's where it gets gray, right? Like, that's where I feel like...
Well, for me, it's not gray. I am fearful of Islam because there is no Islamic country on earth that embraces me as a gay man.
So, okay, so maybe I'm confused because Israel, which is still an Islam country, right?
No, Jewish.
Okay.
So Israel's Jewish, Palestinians are Islamic.
The liberal voter, ladies and gentlemen.
Trying to catch my brain cells as they're
who was that? Cinder Ronald?
No, that's Lady MAGA. I've been interacting with her for many years at CPAC. Comes in drag every year, but very nice person and is on the right. And doesn't like what's going on either.
Well,
in our schools and the drag shows for kids and other things.
I think you're going to start seeing a movement away from that.
Yeah.
From the actual gay people who I think are starting to catch on that, hey, our movement has been hijacked by these lunatics. I think you're going to start seeing some changes. For some reason, I'm starting to see some of that, where you're starting to see more and more of the gay and lesbian community going, wait. We're good with families too. We like kids. We don't want our kids infected with stupid stuff. I think you're starting to see some of that, and it's about freaking time. It's almost like the trans community stuff in sports. It's like, when are the women going to stand up and say, hey, wait, you're not a girl. You shouldn't be here competing as a woman. Same with the gay and lesbian community. They should be calling out all these wackos and be like, look, you don't stand for what we stand for. You're not really one of us. Get out of our movement and stop making it worse and taking us down this path of just destruction. Because that's what the liberal wackos are all about. It's all about destruction.
Yeah.
So,
hey, look what I found.
Found Woody's?
As we go out to commercial.
No.
If it were open, you'd have been.
It looks good. I mean,
like, hey, this is a great pick.
I'm more mad now than I was before. Now that I actually found it.
Is that the right one? Because I was looking for it the other night, and there were 3 different Woodies in the Belmar area.
Did you
in that area?
Tinton Falls. It's considered.
Is it a franchise?
Tinton Falls. That was the one that was right.
Did you have your cowboy hat on when you were driving around?
Everybody loves the Woodies.
Imagine you walked in Woodies with that cowboy hat on.
Oh my!
How come this video doesn't play? They have on this site.
Slick, do you love Woodies?
They need some help.
I'll pass.
Sorry, guys.
There you go.
You passed.
Talk about a deflated ego.
If you're watching on YouTube, we got some pretty good numbers on YouTube tonight, almost 400. That's higher than I think I've seen before. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe button. Smash the like, as they say. 2,500 on X, good number. 240 on Facebook. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe.
Damon, I am going to try. I can't guarantee, but I might go there on the way down to Jersey for my son's wedding next Thursday.
Go to Woody's?
I'm out next Thursday and Friday.
Really?
Guys.
If you go to Woody's, you got to do some video.
Yeah, you got it, definitely.
So which town is that one in?
I think it's considered Tinton Falls.
Tinton Falls.
I know you guys aren't going to believe this headline in the Wall Street Journal tonight.
It's right off the Garden State Parkway.
Oh, you can't miss.
Oh.
Where I was.
You can't miss. But it's not open, right? Was it closed?
When we drove by looking for Wendy's, yes, it was.
Oh, it might have been closed because it was during the daytime.
Opens at 11 a.m.
No, we
closed at
after the
night.
game. It was over. It was night.
Well, what night was it? Sunday night?
Saturday.
Oh, so no, they would have been open. It would be a guy out there.
What time did you go?
What time did they close on Saturday?
It doesn't say.
10.
10? Yeah, it does. Saturday.
We got there like 10.
Woody's closes at 10? That ain't that kind of place.
Yeah, it's a nice restaurant.
What kind of place? What are you,
Nice
what are you
restaurants
talking about?
close early.
It's not the kind of place he likes to go to. With a name like Woody's, he'll find Slick Rick there.
No.
All hours. It's got to be open all hours.
All hours. I need a filet mignon for 2 at 3:30 in the morning. You got it.
Call him.
Is that how you order it up these days? All right, 13 to the hour, live from Studio 6B.
So he ordered some French guy named Filet
on a Tuesday night. So here's a headline in the Wall Street Journal that I know you're not going to believe here tonight. Aaron, if you want to put up my screen, I saw this. Behind closed doors, Biden shows signs of slipping.
Oh,
You mean
participants in meetings said the 81-year-old president performed poorly at times. The White House said Biden is sharp and his critics are playing partisan politics. Big headline tonight in the Wall Street Journal. Biden behind closed doors shows signs of slipping. Well, no duh.
Yeah. Well, aren't there reports of him walking around the White House naked?
Well, that's what Alex Jones told Tucker.
Really?
Yeah,
like
that's
he gets to the point where, you know.
He's the commando in chief.
The opening of this says when President Biden met with congressional leaders in the West Wing in January to negotiate a Ukraine funding deal, he spoke so softly at times that some of the participants struggled to hear him, according to 5 people familiar with the meeting. He read from notes to make obvious points, paused for extended periods, and sometimes closed his eyes for so long that some in the room wondered whether he had tuned out or fallen asleep. Well, that's not a great opening. That's not a great start.
No,
that is not a great start. If you want to read the rest of this, it's on our social media as of right now. It is there, and I'll go through it tonight. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more about it tomorrow.
Yeah,
but
and it kind of falls in lines with Special Prosecutor Robert Hur's assessment.
Yes, it does.
That he's a little too old, as a nice old man, but has a bad memory, and and that was well over a year ago when that interview happened. So you can imagine how much further it's dipped.
Yeah. All right, let's do some sports. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell and MyPillow, and here with that is Mr. Filet Mignon himself, Slick Rick. What's going on, Slick, sir?
Okay, let's get some baseball scores there, Skippy. Braves 8-3 over the Red Sox. Orioles 10-1 over the Blue Jays. Yankees 5-1 over the Twins. These are all finals. Mets 1-1 tonight. 6-3 over the Nats. The Rays 9-5 over the Marlins. Phils down the Brewers 2-1. That was in 10 innings. Pirates blanked the Dodgers 1-0. We got the Guardians 8-6 8-5 over the Royals, and the Giants and Diamondbacks just underway, as is the Mariners and Athletics. Reds continue to lead the Rockies. They are now up 4-0. Padres and Angels again just underway, and Astros 7-2 over the Cardinals. Tigers 3-0 over the Rangers, top of the 7th, and White Sox 5-0 over the Cubs, and that's in the 5th. They resume play. Cubbies continue to show their losing ways. All right, get to a quick story here. Shohei Ohtani, we talked about it earlier, Big D, cleared of wrongdoing in interpreter gambling scandal just a few hours ago. Ohtani's ex-interpreter faces 33 years in jail. Ryan Morick of Fox News. As Shohei Ohtani's former interpreter pleaded guilty to bank and tax fraud, the MLB superstar himself has been cleared. Ippy Mizuhara stole nearly $17 million from the Los Angeles Stars and now faces 33 years in prison. When the news initially broke in March, there was speculation that Ohtani was involved in either betting or knowingly paying the bookie, but Ohtani maintained his innocence and said he was not aware of Mizuhara's apparent gambling addiction. Major League Baseball, in his own investigation, cleared Ohtani of any wrongdoing. Went into the statement, but that's just great news. And Lives Golf's Ian Poulter rips British Airways after airline loses his clubs. Poulter was flying to Texas from Heathrow Airport. Ryan Morick of Fox News. That's not a good thing when that happens, right, Big D? Ian Poulter is set to play in Live Golf's Texas event this weekend, but right now he doesn't have anything to play with. The 48-year-old flew from Heathrow Airport to Texas early this week, but without his clubs. Mid-flight, the airline sent Poulter an email to inform you that a bag has not traveled with you today and told Poulter to contact them for delivery. FFS at British Airways, so disappointing. Poulter wrote on his Instagram story via the Daily Mail, I checked in 2 hours, 30 minutes for the flight. What could possibly be the excuse? Just received the email 3 hours ago. I wouldn't have bothered flying. You are not sending my golf clubs. Can't swing fresh air. So he was pretty upset, and Poulter later added that Henrik Stenson's clubs were also missing. So something awry there on British Airways. I'll tell you, you certainly wouldn't want to go to the club room after that, man. What are those club rooms in the airport? And that's a wrap in sports, Big D. Back to you.
All right, Slick Rick, thanks very much. Let's do a little more news with Rick Delgado. News is brought to you by 7 Cells. Delgado, what else is going on? Anything?
All right. Well, I did come across some of the clips from MTG. I don't know if you want. Nah, we don't have enough time for this. This is kind of a long clip. But maybe you're. Excuse me, Aaron. It's almost 3 minutes.
She said you have time.
Oh, okay.
Well, 4 minus 3 leaves 1. So yes, she's right.
All right. So if you want to go to a cut number 2, here's Marjorie Taylor Greene taking the weed torch to Dr. Fauci.
Do you represent science, Mr. Fauci?
I am a scientist who uses the scientific method to gain information.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
No, that's not a yes or no answer.
Yes, it's a yes or no.
I don't think it is.
Okay, well, we'll take that as a you don't know what you represent. But this, as director of the NIH, you did sign off on these so-called scientific experiments. And as a dog lover, I want to tell you this is disgusting and evil, what you signed off on, and these experiments that happened to beagles paid for by the American taxpayer. And I want you to know Americans don't pay their taxes for animals to be tortured like this. So the type of science that you are representing, Mr. Fauci, is abhorrent. You confess
I like the
that you
Mr.
made
by the way. He doesn't
the COVID
deserve the
rules,
doctor.
including
I didn't hear what you
6
said.
feet social distancing and masking of children.
I never said I made anything up.
You admitted that you made it. You
I
made it
didn't
up.
say
You win.
I made it up.
So are you saying this is fake news, Mr. Fauci?
I didn't say I made anything up.
What did you say?
I said that it is not based in science and it just appeared.
But this is science. And making up guidelines like 6 feet distancing and masking of children. Do you think that's appropriate? Do the American people deserve to be abused like that, Mr. Fauci? Because you're not doctor. You're Mr. Fauci in my few minutes. No, I don't need your answer. That man does not deserve to have a license. As a matter of fact, it should be revoked and he belongs in
Don't let him
prison.
suspend.
Here you are without your mask where you got to go and enjoy the game and sit right next to people not following the 6 feet of distancing, not wearing your mask, and everyone else was forced to stay home and stop enjoying life. And your science here, your science is displayed perfectly in this picture where children in school were put in plastic bubbles because of your science, your repulsive, evil science. And let's go back to your very own email. You said earlier you don't use email. Oh, you do. right here. This is your own email where you said the typical mask you buy in the drugstore is not really effective in keeping out virus. I do not recommend that you wear a mask. This is your email. This is your own words. But yet children all over America were forced to wear masks. Healthy children forced to wear masks, muzzled in their schools. And then they were forced to learn from home because of your so-called science and your medical suggestions, while you and all your cronies get paid from Big Pharma. You know what this committee should be doing? We should be recommending you to be prosecuted. We should be writing a criminal referral because you should be prosecuted for crimes against humanity. You belong in prison, Dr. Fauci.
Still time.
Yeah.
That was great. Epic smackdown.
Yeah. He put more people 6 feet under than he did 6 feet apart, that little criminal.
Yeah.
So she brought the fire. At least there was one. All right, as always, we salute our military, active and inactive, police, firefighters, first responders, EMTs, everybody on the front lines protecting us. I want to thank Will Scharf for joining us tonight. Thanks, guys, on the show. Aaron, Fran, great job as always. Most of all, thank you, the live from Studio 6B audience. We'll see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. right here live from Studio 6B.